Intention deficit disorder. When you look in that mirror and you see a bitch and you neglect the responsibility to respond accordingly to fix that piece of shit that you're reflecting, before you neglect the responsibility to undermine and to not handle and to not manage yourself with proper management to correspond to the highest level of possibility for yourself to upgrade yourself instead of remain whatever the fuck that concoction of self-neglection is. Understand that you lack intention, you lack self-love, and the reason you neglect the development of your life is because you lack that intention. And intention is a force that will propel you forward. It is momentum that compounds daily as you push forward by not compromising yourself and showing up for yourself in life. So every time you don't show up for yourself, every time you neglect the responsibility to respond with ability and efficiency to correspond to the highest outcome, every time to ensure that you make the right choice to not pick up the snack when you don't need one, to not eat when you're full, to not take a sip of that drink, to put down the cigarette, to stop vaping and passively killing yourself, to stop smoking the weed, to stop being a lazy bitch, and to look in the mirror and fix that bitch that you're neglecting to fix. Before you project that piece of shit, I neglect myself energy into reality and then emanate it through your conscious expression, to neglect the responsibility of self-development, which is just self-love through action, to not love yourself through action, and to sit there like a bitch and to neglect the responsibility of fixing that shit, is to be rendered mentally inferior as you make the negative choice every day, every time, and every time you have the opportunity to make the right choice. You're the only organism on the fucking planet that corresponds to things that lead to deficits. Every time you sit there and smoke that weed, every time you pick up that bottle, every time you sit there and hit the vape, you're killing yourself. You're sitting there annihilating, and you are perpetuating that as a habit. You're so not in control of yourself. You're so powerless that things outside of you have control of how you move in reality and existence. So before you sit there with that grim bitch ass pussy look on that bitch face, understand that you only live once, and every second you waste being that pussy that won't fix that bitch in the mirror is every second you lost, and every second you have chose to leave instead of take an opportunity to grow and to foster that strength and to become the individual you always needed by overcoming that addiction, to be the example you always needed, to fix the individual you neglected to not fix. I mean, self-development is self-love through action, and to not love yourself through action is to not love yourself, and to not love yourself is to hate yourself, because if you don't love yourself, there is no alternative but the polarity of. Everything is polar opposites. The reason you're polarized to the truth is because you live a lie, you dumb fuck. So remember that you only live once, and to compromise that existence, to neglect the beauty of life, and to not have gratitude for it, and to not extract the nectar of life, and to not comprehend the velocity of that, and to allow it to corrode your brain, and to make you feel that way, that apathy, that guilt, to allow it to feel uncomfortable, and to allow that uncomfortability to push you in the direction you need to go. So many people are so stuck being comfortable, they are addicted to comfort. And the reason they stay stuck at that stagnating, I'm never going to level up and I'm going to die a bitch in this one life that I didn't express gratitude for, to sit there and laugh at yourself, at your own life, to sit there and pretend like you don't only live once, and the moment you just lost a moment ago, you'll never get back. Do you understand that you only live once, and you're never going to get the moment you just lost a moment ago? When you look at people with amazing work ethic, how do you never miss a 3 a.m. wake up? When you were at the 24-hour gym, you never missed a 3:45 a.m. workout. When you are at the 5 a.m. gym, you never missed a 5 a.m. workout. When it's on the weekend, 7 o'clock, you're in the park working out at 5 a.m., right? The only times we go to the gym at 7 o'clock is when we have to hit leg day. But the reason is because I love myself to the point where I will get uncomfortable. I will sit there and still make the right choice. And most of you sit there comfortable, make the wrong choice, and then sit there, quote unquote, comfortable in the uncomfortability, and then wonder why you're such a pussy And that bitch in the mirror, you never fix that shit. And then you wonder why you feel some type of way. And you wonder why you have every little pitiful indolence in your fucking life. You wonder why you succumb to every negative emotion in your life. You wonder why you feel like shit. You wonder why you feel like a half-empty glass that is missing to be full. You wonder why your life is shit. And the reason your life is shit is because you are shit. And you won't embrace the fact you're shit. And you won't accept the fact you're shit. And so you're going to remain a bitch until you accept the fact you're shit and do everything in your power to not be shit. It's that simple. You neglect the truth, but the truth is you're a bitch and you need to fix that shit because that pussy, insecure bitch energy that you project into the universe and then influx and then, sit there and have this catharsis fucking piece of shit bitch, I don't do shit with my life to develop and have forward momentum and to make progress, to become a better individual in the life I only live once, and to compromise my existence every day, to sit there and passively kill myself and channel that bitch self-hatred energy through the vape, the smoke, the drink, the porn. I mean, you guys are addicted to porn. That shit is disgusting. And every time you watch that shit, look in the mirror and don't accept that bitch who just soak you. I mean, zoom out third person before you sit there on that weird pussy shit. You can't even go out in public without your mind controlling you. So before you undermine yourself and, the lack of control you lack possession of your own mind. That is a fucking problem. That is a ginormous problem, and you are not comprehending me. You are not listening to the message with comprehension. You are listening to the message with apprehension, and so you are going to apperceive, and then you're going to inverse and you're going to interpret the message with the projection of your own consciousness. But you're supposed to actually interpret the message without any projection of what the fuck you are, because if you heard the truth about yourself, you would probably sit there in a fucking corner and cry all day. Every time you pick up the drink, every time you pick up the smoke, every time you pick up the snack, every time you pick up something that is not for your best interest, and you sit there and compromise your existence that you only get once, and to sit there and waste a moment that you'll never get back, and to die a bitch in the one existence you get, and to sit there like a power squandering piece of shit, and then wonder why you feel unfulfilled, and wonder why you're so insecure, and wonder why you feel all these negative emotions that you create for yourself, and then actively approve of through your action to prove yourself what the fuck you are, which is a bitch, and what the fuck you feel is what the fuck you are, a bitch. So stop accepting less and actually make a choice to be more in life and to sacrifice everything that is allowing you're sacrificing yourself. Why don't you, instead of sacrificing the best you, that best image of self that you create through conscious congruence, which is you fulfilling the actions you say daily, to say that you're going to go to that gym, and you're going to go to that gym like a beast, and you're going to go to that gym and you're going to give it all you have. They think it's just a workout. Bitch, we're on the mental plane. We're absorbing the self-love we get by putting in the pain. We don't count our sets. We go until our heart feels that self-love that we protrude and diverge and willingly put our energy into, to allow it to reverberate back in abundance. As you sit there poor, as you sit there broke, out of shape, poor in every metric of existence, physically, mentally, financially, all you have to do is align with the universe, which is the best you. Understand that this existence isn't some spontaneous fucking combustion or some concoction or some shit that just fucking happened. No, this shit is a beautiful unfolding of the best you. But every time you neglect that, is you dissonating and decimating and dissipating that connection to your higher self, which will bring you to that path that is waiting for you to walk that path that you want to walk, that dream, that aspiration, that energy you get to be something more than what the fuck you are right now. Isn't some fluke, isn't some fucking illusion, isn't some deception that you've created for yourself. The deception, the illusion is what the fuck that piece of shit bitch in the mirror that neglects the responsibility to respond with efficiency, to master life and to master the material existence with the highest of effort to maximize yourself and expedite and exponentially compound that self-growth every day, and to develop yourself with maximum efficiency, and to absorb that power you gain from being the best you, and to put your heart out on the fucking table of life, and to just sit there and permeate and absorb it, and to understand that you only live once, and gratitude is the only expression of self-love, and gratitude through action, through conscious congruence living, through being your best self, is the only way. And most people never become aware to the fact they only live once in life, and every moment they lost, a moment ago, they'll never get back. And it's because, they've never been informed. No one has ever told them about the velocity of life, about the validity to validate yourself through your actions instead of other people's flaws, instead of other people's deficits. We're not trying to kick you down, we're trying to call you up. So, self-development community in the description. There you have resources, you have plentiful of abundant resources to inform and to reform your mind's interferometry, and to integrate the information that you've been neglecting, the information you need to absorb and embed into your consciousness to be a better individual all the time, every day. We created a new collection yesterday, addiction. If you're suffering from addiction, well, you better read that shit, because you are passively killing yourself, and to not comprehend you're passively killing yourself is to be a bitch to yourself. So remember that you only live once, and you need to go into that community, and you need to absorb everything in it. Peace.